what I'm thinking. Well, let's take a break, and we'll roll that video, and we'll come back, and we'll keep going.
Okay. Okay.
All right. I'm here with Jay Schneiderman in Sag Harbor, and kind of cornered him, put you on the spot, and
Okay.
I'd like to know what you think about the proposed closure of Stony Brook Southampton.
I'm very sad to hear that they're even considering closing SUNY Southampton. It's been a great project, and it keeps getting better and better, and it's really just in its infancy. And a lot of us fought pretty hard to make that happen when LIU announced their closure, and thanks to people like Ken Laval and Fred Thiel, and the pieces were put in place for this great institute studying sustainability and all this environmental planning and design. The curriculum is amazing, and a tremendous amount of investment. I think $75 million has been put into this, and to walk away from it, to me, it makes no sense at all. So we obviously have to find a way to save the college, and I think the state is being very short-sighted in closing it. And it's not fair to all the kids who have signed up, who are in four-year programs, to pull the rug out from them. They've got to be able to finish their majors. Of course, the marine biology, they're talking about keeping that on. That's a hallmark of that college. But, it can't just be about the marine biology. It's got to be about all these other majors that they've added, too. And that's the kind of institution that can change the world, that can find us the answers we need to help our planet. And this idea of shutting it down, I think, is really foolhardy. So, I'm going to stand with all the people who want to try to keep it going or try to find a way to do it.
Do you have any ideas on how we could?
Well, I think we may have to look for, whether there's an individual or corporation that will take this on, endow this campus, this college, with the money it needs until it can self-sustain. It's kind of ironic that you have a college or university that's focused on sustainability, and it needs help being sustained. But I think trying to find somebody, or an individual or corporation who can really fund it through this period, I think that has to be part of the focus. And really to just, the state doesn't have to close it. That's a decision. There's lots of decisions the state is making right now in this fiscal emergency. And we have to try to get the message to those people who are making those decisions that this should not be an option, that this should be off the table. This is, of course, maybe it's losing money now, but that's not fair. That's just because it's getting started. There's only 500 kids at the school. When there's 2,000, 3,000 kids, the economics are going to be different. And it will grow to that size, and we all know it. So to kill it now when it's just starting to bloom is really wrong.
Do you have any advice that people watching, just ordinary citizens, can do to help this effort to keep the campus alive?
Well, they certainly, can call the state, the head of SUNY Stony Brook, let him know their feelings. I think that's important. That President Stanley, right? I think that's important. And they certainly can call their state representatives. Senator Laval and Assemblyman Thiel, but those guys are already on board.
Right.
But I suppose it doesn't hurt to thank them for fighting for the college. So I don't know. I mean, I think people showing up and having their voices heard at rallies or forums, meetings, I think that's important too. And if anybody has any great ideas of how to come up with the money to keep it going, I think that would be important as well.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
So that was Jay Schneiderman, and everything he says seems to be what everybody's thinking, what everybody's saying, what everybody's talking about, and it just seems to be one person. I mean, I'm sure that there was a bit of discussion that President Stanley, president of Stony Brook, had discussion with somebody. He didn't just decide to do this on his own, but I mean,
it seems that way.
It does seem that way.
It's my understanding that the state budget is really the culprit here, but then again, I don't know all the economic details. Seeing things like spreadsheets encumbered expenses, projected expenses, enrollment, tuition versus the expenses that are going to be occurring, what's the projection for the amount of income that this property can produce versus the amount invested.
Well, here's the thing.
It's complicated.
You know, when you talk
unfortunately.
about what can we produce monetarily, well, let's just talk about the environment. Once you don't have it, there's no amount of money that you could ever get that is going to replace, you know, lost natural resources, lost species, you know, lost, you know.
Debbie, I'm from northern New Jersey. I'm told I'm not allowed to admit that. But the area that I grew up in, my grandmother used to drive down the street, all these strip malls. The area was developed, which it's kind of the center of a horseshoe, and the horseshoe line is the Passaic River, which we all saw in the news not very long ago. Very close to Little Falls, all those areas of flooding. And the center is strip malls. Now, my grandmother would drive by there and say to me, this used to be the dairy farm,
Right.
and that's where we used to play. Like all these kinds of conversations. And I felt that because I'm coming from there, and then my mother discovered the east end of Long Island, and she could have been, you know, the whole community relations, public relations, to get the whole entire world to come to the east end of Long Island, God's country. I mean, she drank the water, she ate the food. I mean, she couldn't wait to be here.
Yeah, but
so
once it's
seeing the
gone.
contrast of it being gone, and then discovering a place that it's not gone,
Right.
you can project out what could happen. And
You know, it's like an
until it
investment
happens
for
to
the
you,
future.
you don't
Exactly.
You
see
know,
it.
even if the school never turns a profit, which I didn't know that public education was supposed to turn a profit, but even if it never did, the profit is in the future, the sustainability, the people going out there working for the planet.
Well, that's the investment that theoretically is made. Not
Right.
all things are income producing.
That's what I'm saying.
They
You
are-
don't need to
but
see
they are-
a dollar bill at the end of the day that, you know, tuition, you know,
Someone
supported
does.
this or that. Yes, somebody does. Speaking of money, you guys have created a 501c3 not-for-profit.
That's correct. All the information is on the Facebook group, and we're looking for donations, and really any amount is welcome. We're just trying to raise funds at this point.
What is your name? What is your major?
My name is Juliana Klepacki. I'm a freshman at Stony Brook Southampton. I actually just transferred here last semester, and currently I'm a business management major focusing on sustainability.
And where
So-
are you from?
I'm from Southampton.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And so people can go on to the, they can go online and type in Save Stony Brook Southampton. Very simple. Then they will find, in the very top of their search there, they will find the Facebook page.
Exactly.
They'll find the, excuse me, the petition. We're all coughing around here today. We're choked up. This is horrible. They'll find the petition site, and then they can get a link over to the donation. And it's simple, PayPal. You go on there.
Yeah.
It took me about a minute. You know, this morning I made a donation, and we need to get this money because apparently we're hiring one of this country's top legal firms to represent the students, or what is going on with that? I'm not totally in the loop on that because it's kind of secret information, I think.
It is.
So you heard it here, folks.
Yeah, we don't even really know all the details at this point.
But we do know that we're not sitting down. We're not, you
Oh,
know,
no.
the students aren't just, you know, going to go and go home
We're
and
not giving
cry.
up.
No.
Absolutely not. We may be, quote unquote, only 525 students, but we're fighting. So
You've got the backing, though, I mean, you know, of community, parents, you know, friends, neighbor. I mean, everyone, you know, we saw Jay Schneiderman. I mean, everyone is perplexed at this whole, it just makes no sense.
Debbie, will there be another opportunity for the students to
Yes.
sit down and speak with
Yes.
some of